Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lunch and Learn Live. How are you all? Hope you can hear me okay. Having a little bit of a little gentle groove to start today. Oh, yes. It felt like a groovy kind of day. Hello, hello. We are going to talk about love today. Oh, yes, we are. It is coming up to that time of the year when our relationships get under stress and pressure, i.e. the end of the year. And we like to preempt that here at One of Many by talking a little bit about love and relationships before we get there. Again, I just have had a panic moment where I'm not sure if I'm actually on the One of Many page. If anyone is there and can tell me that I am on the One of Many page, which is where I should be, then that would be great. Hi, Rachel in wet Lincolnshire. Good to see you, my love. As you arrive, my darlings, do let me know where in the world you are. It is a miserable day here in the Cotswolds. Rainy and drizzly, not so fabulous at all. I did just have a yummy big bowl of miso soup with lots of rice noodles and salmon and things in it. And I've now got Earl Grey tea. So what you eating? What's for lunch wherever you are in the world? Or breakfast? Or dinner? Or a midnight snack? Thank you, girls, for telling me I'm in the right place. It's always just that little moment where I went, oh, I didn't double check that someone hasn't changed the settings before I hit go live. We are going to talk about love. In fact, we're going to talk about one of the keys to experiencing more love in your life today. So if you know that you are someone who could do with experiencing a little more love in your life, then let me know. Let me know in the comments section. Let me know what's going on in your neck of the woods in the context of love right now. Are you single? Are you married? Are you in a long-term partnership? Are you dating? Where are you? What's going on there? And how's it hanging for you? How's it unfolding? It is one of these things which I think is an ongoing challenge for us women. And when we can learn to unleash and untap more experience of love in our lives, it actually ripples out into all areas of our life. In fact, I have the personal philosophy that our ability to be great leaders is really in proportion to our ability to experience and share love, and to have that as a strong and solid foundation in our lives. It's really tough to show up and be a stand for something that you believe in and so on if you don't have support, if you don't have deep connections, whether they be friendships or intimate relationships, if you don't have that area, and especially if that area is causing you stress. So even if so you might not be having an experience of an intimate relationship, for example, right now, but worse perhaps than no experience is the experience of being in a relationship where the relationship is causing you such distress and such challenge that it's very difficult for you to concentrate on anything else. So it is one of these areas that is a huge challenge for us, and it is equally one of the areas of life about which we are taught very little, if anything, as we grow up as young girls. All that we're really taught is what we've been fed by the fairy tales and the fairy stories, that one day, a knight in shining armor, Prince Charming, is going to come along, kiss us, bring us back to life, and all be well in the universe. Now, there's many, many things wrong with that story. For one, the happy ever after is never really happy ever after. It's just the beginning. Two, the prince is always a male, which is really sucks if you're not heterosexual, right? And you don't fall into the fairy tales. Three, it very rarely happens like that, and it's always dependent on the woman being helpless in some way, not able to stand up and stand her own ground. Instead, she's choking on an apple, or she's had some magic cast on her by a fairy, so she's got a pretty dress to wear to a party, or she's been looked after by 7 bloody elves, no, what are they, dwarves? Oh no, that's the same one who choked on the apple. Or she's got hair, lots of it, and she hangs it out in a castle window. Do you know, like, this is the shit that we were brought up on, and we all know at some level that the fairy tale ain't real, but what we are, most of us unaware of, is just how much those stories, and not even just those stories, but how growing up in a very heteronormative culture, where monogamy and meet one person and marry them for the rest of your life and have babies is the accepted norm in so much of our culture, how much that seeps into our unconscious paradigm, our cultural paradigm around what we will allow ourselves around love, around what makes us happy. And even sometimes when we get the fairy tale, many of us find ourselves waking up going, hang on a second, this is not what I thought it was going to be. I've been let down. The promise is not real. And because at some deep and unconscious level, we're carrying around a lot of these unconscious beliefs and programming from our cultural paradigm. So it's something that needs looking at, right? It's something that needs looking at, and it is not serving of women. And frankly, I believe that the mythology around relationship is not serving of men either, right? It's not serving of anybody with what we live in, the soup that we swim in around this. So we're going to have a chat about one of the keys today to experiencing more love, which flies in the face of a lot of this kind of culture. But let's say hello to you ladies first. And as always, my darlings, I would love it if you would invite your friends to today's Lunch and Learn Live. You can do that by, in the comment section, writing their names and just tagging them. So as Facebook shows you their names, you click on it and they will get notified that you're watching this today, and they can check it out. If you have any friends in your life who are having challenges in the area of love and relationships, do share today. It'd be great to have them as part of the One of Many community. And you know that we are always serving with lots of great free information here on Lunch and Learn Lives. So yay. So who have we got here today? I can see Rachel, I can see Jean from Wet and Windy Withensea, Peggy, hello my love, Karen from a cold Buckinghamshire, Peggy's in Milton Keynes, wet here as well. Lisa says, I'm married, but I could definitely do with more love. Yes. Hello, Bath is grey and gloomy today too. Yes, I bet. Cold and windy in Buckinghamshire with Alison. Hello, my love. Karen says, I've been with hubby for nearly 17 years, married for 3. Could do with more love generally, including close friendships. Yeah, good call, Karen. Yes. Allah says, yes, being in a complicated situation is so distressing, just like you described. That's it, right? So this is it. We get the fairy tale, we find the one, and then, 6 months in, it's like, well, actually, this is not working out, and I'm now more stressed than I was when I was single, so I'm not sure if I like this so much, right? It can be really challenging. Jean says, I've been in a long-distance relationship for 10 or 11 years now. We live 2 hours apart, and no one else seems to understand that we're both fine with this. We don't want to move on to living together. Pre-COVID, we saw each other every other weekend, and it suits us fine. That's great. Yes. Tracy said, hi, my mum says monogamy is another word for monotony. I love your mum, Tracy. I love your mum. That's fantastic. Alison says, my partner and I have lived 1 hour apart for 16 years. It suits us. Beck's in Milton Keynes too. We've got a little hot spot of one of many years around Milton Keynes there. Good to see you all. Petra says, I'm married 18 years, 24 together. It needs a bit of work. And Caroline says, hi from grey and rainy Eli. I'm finding as I work through living the change, I'm experiencing more love from my husband. Yay, Caroline. Yes, that is a very common side effect of our programs here at One of Many, is that you experience more love from the people in your life that love you. It is a side effect indeed. Hi, Hetty. Good to see you, my darling. So, let's talk about it, ladies. Let's talk about, now there is so much on this topic, which is, of course, why we are running a free workshop on the topic on Sunday. It is called Love and Intimacy, and I am running it's not brand new at all. I have run it once before. I am tweaking it and massaging it a little, giving it some new shine, but I'm going to be running that on Sunday morning. We're having a Sunday morning this this weekend. So if you would like some more love and intimacy in your life, join us for the Love and Intimacy Workshop. I will put the link to it in the comments section, or indeed, if Jo Faminska is there, she may put it in there because I don't have it right now. I really should have prepared that. I'm so in the moment, aren't I? I'm still kind of on half-term holidays with the kids as well. They're downstairs carving pumpkins with Greg at the moment. And I am up here having a chat to you. Hooray! Petra says, I'm already signed up. Or maybe Petra knows where we signed up then, so she can share the link. Lovely. Thank you. So Love and Intimacy is happening on Sunday. And this is one little snippet of Love and Intimacy that I want to share with you today. I am going to be going through 5 different barriers to deep relationship and eroticism on Sunday. And this is one of them. This is one of those 5. So let's kind of have a little dabble into the barriers to deep love, deep relationships, and eroticism. And this particular one is specifically around love, but it also segues into our erotic and intimate relationships as well. So it is the challenge that we have in terms of our relationship to love itself. Not our relationship to other people, not our relationship to, to the hot person sitting across the bar or to the person who happens to be sitting in our lounge room or, to whomever it is. It's not the relationship to another person, but we need to have a look at the relationship that we have to the concept of love. So I'm interested from you ladies. Let me know, do you feel like you have a healthy relationship to love? Do you feel like it has a lot of rules around it? How do you feel when you think about love? Does it feel like it's something that's easy to experience or something that is hard to experience? I'd be really interested to hear from you in the comments section. Yes, we'll get the link for you, Tanya, I promise. And actually, we sent out an email today, ladies. So if you're on our email list, we will have sent out an email to the workshop today as well. I should get it for you, shouldn't I? I shouldn't just, go. I'll get it. I'll get it for us. I'll get it for us. Let me see if it's the same as last year. That would be good, wouldn't it? If it was the same as last year. Here we go. Let's pop that over there. I'll get it for you, ladies. oneofmany.co.uk. I'm gonna guess. And while you're sharing, November the 1st, I found it! Woohoo! Good. There we go. There's the link, Tanya and others, so that you can get yourself registered for that and come and join us on Sunday. Excellent. So, where are you? There you are. Good. So let's have a little talk. So I'm interested to know how you're experiencing your relationship, or your relationship, not your relationship with a person, but your relationship to love. How easy does that feel? How buoyant does it feel? How fueling does it feel? Or does it feel the opposite of that? So let's hear from a couple of you. Aid says it feels missing and hard to experience, though I have it in my soul. Yeah, I get that. Like at your soul level, you know that you've got love in there, but it feels like it's a missing and it's hard to experience in your everyday life. I've got it. Yes, thank you. Allah says it's not easy at the moment. It does not feel easy at the moment. Cynthia says, frankly, I've got no relationship to love. I have no kind of concept of that. Wow, thank you, Cynthia. Karen says it feels hard to experience, a little bit unattainable, like it's something you read in books or see on films that never seems to be available in real life, if that makes sense. Karen, that makes perfect sense. This is the problem with it, right? This is the problem, is that we experience or imagine that love is this thing that we experience when we clap eyes on another person. They're our soulmate, and cherubs start tooting horns and angels start flapping their wings, and then, ta-da, we experience love. Jean says, I'm not sure I even understand the question. This is it, right? We all have a relationship to love, and we don't necessarily appreciate it in what is the most Like, if you want to experience more love in your life, you need to change the way you relate to love in general. You need to redefine how you relate to love. Because if love is something which is outside of you that's coming from the other, whether that other be your children or your lover, your partner, your spouse, the person you're dating, whomever it might be. If you experience love as something that is coming from without, from them, because they love you, they are the ones doing the loving, and that's the only way you experience it, then I can absolutely agree with Aid here. You will experience it as missing and hard to experience. You know you've got it in your soul. You kind of like, you know that love's in there somewhere because maybe you felt it at some point in your life, so you kind of know that it's in there somewhere, but you're not experiencing it every day. And one of the reasons is because we think it is a feeling, it is an emotion that we feel, and that the source of it is outside. Does this make sense, ladies? How many of you can relate to that? That in order to feel love, you feel like someone has to love you. In order to feel love, there's this unconscious kind of programming that you feel that someone has to love you, and that if someone doesn't love you, you cannot experience the true deep love that you really want to experience in your life, right? Yeah, this is it. Hetty says, love was never even mentioned when I was a child. What even is that, right? Yeah, good. Yes. Peggy says, yes, true. Get it, right? So this is the first piece. So the first thing we need to understand about love is it is not even an emotion. Yes, if you look it up in the dictionary, they will give you some awful definition of love that is like a constant, what was the thing I fixate on about the definition? It is a constant, ongoing affection. Right? That's how it defines love. This constant, it's got to be constant. An ongoing affection, and then we get to call it love. So the first thing to say about that is that if any emotion has to be constant, then we're screwed, right? We never feel anything on an ongoing kind of basis. So there is nothing constant about love from the external or being in a state of love, because we have all emotions as human beings and we ebb and flow between them all, right? We absolutely ebb and flow. So it isn't an emotion. That's the first thing. And the second thing is to recognize that it isn't something that comes from outside, right? If it was, right, just imagine this for a second. This is what Annie Stoker, my content collaborator here at One of Many, our head of coaching, talks about when she's talking about love and this distinction. She says, if love was something that came from outside, like how do you get it inside you? How do you get the feeling, oh, yeah, I'm feeling love. How do you get it inside you if it's from outside you? You know, you shoot it up? Do you swallow it? Do you drink it? How do you get it in, right? Is that what the sexual act is about? Actually getting the love inside you? I don't know, right? This is the thing. It's not something that comes from outside. When you are feeling love, right? When I am feeling love, when I am feeling radiant and loving and full of love and juice and yumminess and all of the good things, it's not coming from outside. That feeling is coming from inside me, right? It has its roots inside of me. So when we appreciate this, when we start to fully appreciate that love is something that is inside of us and available to us all of the time, the first thing that can happen from that is that we stop looking outside of us for the source of love. How many of you can feel that if you were able to make that shift, not just at this intellectual level that we're talking about now, but if you were able to stop looking outside of you for the source of love, but to find it inside, that you could actually experience more love in your life? At BeLove, which is our retreat on love and relationships, we talk about the fact that love is a place to stand, right? That being love, when we are standing in the center of love, we can just be loving, right? When we are being love, we're standing in the place of love, we can be love, and then that love then causes us to do loving actions, right? Whether that be to go and caress a lover, to give them a kiss, whether that be to scoop your kid in and snuggle them up, whether that be to ruffle the soft little ears of your puppy dog, right? Whatever it is, when you are being love, it causes loving actions. It causes kind, warm actions. And those kind, warm actions result in loving feelings inside you, right? So you don't have to feel, here's the interesting thing, you don't have to feel all of the, the hormonal hit of the emotion. Because all that hormone, I wish we could talk about hormones today. That's a story for another day. What we think is falling in love is actually just a hormone cocktail. But all of the hormones, the oxytocin and all of those bonding chemicals, vasopressin in the case of men, that kicks in when we are affectionate with each other. Those hormones kick in after we have chosen to be love, to be open to love, right? To stand in the place of love, take loving actions, and then those loving actions are what causes us to have those loving feelings, those feelings of love, right? So it is a place to stand. It is not something that comes from outside of us, right? It's not something that comes from outside of us. And this requires, therefore, self-love. In order for us to fully experience love, we need to be on the self-love journey. Now, I just want to be really clear for a second because, don't get me wrong, I experienced a hell of a lot of love before I was very good at loving myself. You can absolutely fall in love, experience the hormone cocktails. You can be loved by another very deeply. Another person can love you very, very deeply without knowing self-love. If you are not good at self-love, other people can love you. But here's the kicker. You won't sustain the contentment of that if you perceive that the source of love is outside of you and you are so armored up that you don't let yourself be seen, right? It's not that the love can't get into you. It's that if you don't love yourself enough to let another person see it, even when they can see it, you just kind of armor up. If you can't let that be seen, then what you experience is always being isolated. You could be in a relationship with another human being. You may have been partnered to them for 17, 30 years. But if you don't if you don't love yourself, you'll find it very hard to be able to experience that deep knowingness, that intimacy that is available when you let somebody else see you. Does that make sense, ladies? So yes, you can fall in love, and yes, you can have flashes and moments of loving feelings if you don't have self-love. But every woman I know that has a real deep challenge with self-love finds that it is very hard. Like they'll start with a great relationship, and then after 6 to 8 months, they end, or they might they might limp along a little longer than that. But but it becomes about the partner, right? He's like this or she's like that. It's their fault. They changed, but actually, what is underneath it is the inability to love oneself deeply. Now, you might have someone, and some of you might be in a relationship like this. I've got a girlfriend like this who is so loved by her husband, so very loved by her husband, has been for a number of years. I don't know how long exactly they've been together, maybe 15 years. They've got kids together. And yet she is aware that her self-love stops her from being as open to receiving his affection as is possible, right? And that's why she is doing a lot of inner work on developing her own self-love and coming to accept and love herself. It's such a critical piece. So that's the first piece, ladies, that I want to kind of talk about today, and I hope this is landing for you. So I want to hear from you in the comments section. How is this relating, or how is it showing up in your life? If you've got any experiences of what I'm talking about, then I'd love to hear from you. Oh, Emily says the BeLove retreat changed my life. Oh, Emily, that's cool. I like details. I love details on BeLove. There's lots of fun details on BeLove. So let us know, Emily, exactly how, what happened. That's it. Jean says, I grew up being told there was a difference between real love and being in love. Yeah, and Jean, I think I tend to believe that. That feeling that we know. Like, I hate this when I hear from people and they say, I love my partner, I love my husband, I love my wife, but I'm not in love with them anymore. I don't feel like I'm in love with them. I love them, but I'm not in love with them anymore. As though that's some kind of reason, therefore, to break up. For me, look, there's many, many reasons to break up, and I'm not saying that you have to stay with someone for the rest of your life, but I'm always a stand that our intimate relationship is the greatest vehicle for our own self-development and growth and expansion. So I would always, my place to stand around that, and it's not the truth, is you stick with it until you have done the work, and if you have done the work and it's still not working out, then okay, different thing. But if people use that thing of I love them, but I'm not in love with them, the in love, what they usually mean by the in love is that heady, swoony, the cherubs tooting, all of that kind of stuff that happens at the beginning of a relationship. That happens, and I've also spoken to women, who've had affairs and maybe they've been ongoing, and it's in those kind of, secretive relationships on the side that it lasts longer because of the forbidden nature of it, the exotic nature of it that makes it different. But that in-loveness can never sustain because it is fueled by a totally different hormone set. Love is a place to stand that is completely different. Love is, we can love, and I am a great believer in I have enough love for everybody, right? That I love deeply and widely, and thankfully I'm with a man who understands and appreciates and supports that. I love a lot of people. I'm not saying I have sexual relationships with all of them, but we can love many, 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 many people. Now, obviously, all of this has got to be, you've got to, how the expression of that love manifests itself is for you and any partners that you might be experiencing to determine and have conversation about. But love is something that we can have for everybody. It is not only one person or this small group of people that we can love. So yes, I agree, Jean, that I think there is a difference between love, being loving, standing in the place of love, and being in love. Being in love for me is a hormone cocktail, and it's heady and it's fun and it's fabulous, but it isn't necessarily, and that's there's no reason not to have lots of that in your life. That's totally fine. It's great. It feels good, but we shouldn't mix that up with what love truly is, right? So Nicholas says, 2 weeks ago, I met and had a first date. He stood me up 2 times this weekend, attempting to date Saturday night triple birthday party. If I'm stood up times 3, hey ho. Currently loving myself and have finally watched Brené Brown on vulnerability. I've avoided it for 4 months. Bingo. There you go, Nicola. Yes, that's it. We've got to step into vulnerability. And seriously, this person, he's telling you, He's telling you what his priorities are, my love. He's telling you who he is and how he's going to be with you. So, be careful. If you've been stood up a couple of times, that's unless there's, huge, great hospital things happening. There's plenty more fish in the sea on that one, I think. Let's see here. So Allah says, I'm finding it hard as he's struggling with emotions of guilt and heartache following being widowed 2 years ago. Got it. He's very hesitant, but wants us to be exclusive. I have past experience of being being abused in relationships past, and hence now living in a state of anxiety. I find it hard to love myself as I don't know if I'm lovable, if I can't maintain connection. Allah, really important piece on this is your being lovable is totally independent of your ability to do anything. Right? Being worthy of love and being lovable is totally independent of your ability to be a good person, to behave in any way. It is fundamental to your humanity, to who you are as a person, right? You are lovable. You are worthy of love because you are, right? You are worthy of love because you are. So any unconscious barriers that you have to your ability to accept that, it's well worth the work and the journey to deal with those, truly. Allah, if you're not already registered for Love and Intimacy on the weekend, do that, because we're going to talk a lot about this piece and the other barriers to deep relating, which I think will be really helpful. But none of us is perfect at maintaining connection all of the time. But as long as we get to know ourselves, we get to know what triggers us and trips us up, and we can love each other through the triggers and the trip ups. That is, I think, the basis for a really powerful ongoing relationship. So interesting. Nadine says, I'm single and was happily so for a number of years. But then when my 9-year relationship ended amicably, I withdrew into low self-esteem and suddenly had real confidence issues. Interesting, Nadine. That's a really powerful example of where perhaps the source of love was outside, and while your partner was filling you up, all was well in the universe. But then when that stops, it's like, oh, hang on a second, who am I? And then the low self-esteem and confidence issues kick in. So that's clearly the journey for you to journey on, right? The journey for you to experience more of. Karen says, what I said about my girlfriend could have been talking about me. Yeah, it's very common, right? We see it a lot in our community. Absolutely. Yeah, there you go. Nicola's just saying about the guy who stood her up. He's 19 years younger. It was a test by him, I'm sure, expecting drama, expecting me to bail, expecting erratic obsession, and he's his own man. Thankfully, neither of us want the torture nor the toxic drama. Final chance, though. Yeah, fair enough, right? Absolutely. Yeah, no drama, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then, if he doesn't show, there you go. Good on you, my love. Good on you. So there's some really interesting shares there, ladies. This is one of these areas, isn't it, which it can take up so much of our consciousness. The absence of love, the absence of I won't say the absence of love, because we can choose to be love, and we can choose to be loving at any time, right? That is something that doesn't require the other. But the absence of intimacy. Intimacy is an experience that we can only have with the other. It could be, the other could be, our partner, our lover, our children, our best friends. But it requires, the other in order to experience that. We can't do that by ourselves and from ourselves. So when we find ourselves in these situations where we don't have the opportunity to experience deep intimacy, it can actually really hurt. Do you know? It can be heartbreaking. It can make us feel numb. It can have us withdraw. It can have us really kind of pull away from life. However, if we can turn that around and we can heal ourselves and really dig into self-love and the ability to love ourselves so that we can show up and be intimate in our lives with our partners, with our other relationships, with friends and so on, really intimate, really let ourselves be seen. As Brené Brown says, experience that deep vulnerability. That is where the real juice lies. And it is what can fuel us so powerfully in whatever it is that we wish to create in the world. So I highly recommend doing the work, the internal work, the journeying inside to really establish who are you, where are you, what do you love, what turns you on, what do you enjoy, where are you a yes, where are you a no. Really get to know you so that you can show up from a place of love and choose to be love with others. Just to be really clear, being love and choosing loving actions, you can still love someone, and if you're in an abusive relationship, you can leave. You can still love them and leave, right? A lot of people think that if they are in an abusive relationship, that if they leave, they have to withdraw the love, or that it means that they don't love them. These things do not coexist. Your love is one thing. You can continue to love them if you choose, and set boundaries. You can continue to love, and if you are unsafe, leave. You can still love, right? Because love is a place to stand. Now, the nature of how you express that love may change if you choose to leave, and highly recommend that it ought to if you're in an abusive relationship. But know that here, inside of One of Many, there's a beautiful community of women who can support you in this area, and many of whom have been through similar things themselves to help. But I just want to say, with everything that I'm saying here about choosing love does not mean choosing to be treated badly. Right? It's a different, it's apples and oranges, right? You can have love and you can have boundaries. You can have both at the same time, right? You can absolutely have both at the same time. Awesome. All right, my darlings. Well, listen, I hope that's really helpful for you. Let me know in the comment section what your big takeaway from today is. What are you taking away from this session today, and how are you going to change what you're doing a little differently? A little reminder again that we have our Love and Intimacy workshop coming up on Sunday morning. It's a beautiful deep dive for 3 hours into all things love and intimacy. We will be talking about, let me tell you what we're going to be talking about since I got the website up here. We're talking about, here it is, how we can use our intimate relationship or lack of intimate relationship or opportunity for intimate relationship as an example of all of our relationships. So we kind of, through the lens of intimate relationships, have a look at all of this. We talk about a great concept called the chemistry of chemistry, which is, I'll talk about it on Sunday, but basically I hear from a lot of our women, why am I always the one that has to do the work? I hear it, right? So we're going to talk about that on the weekend. The personal transformation that you can make before you make any other changes. So what is the one thing you need to absolutely change inside before you make any other changes in how you're showing up? We're going to look at 3 disempowering patterns in relationship and how you can stop those in their tracks. We'll look at some personal barriers to intimacy, how to attract partner without being inauthentic. We're going to look at 4 keys to communicating with all men and 5 steps for asking for what you need without being needy. I'll also be telling you a little about our upcoming BeLove retreat, which is happening in January of next year. And it's going to be a fabulous interactive workshop with lots of time, or at least I hope lots of time for questions and digging into all things juicy and getting to know everybody in the One of Many community a little deeper. So please, 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 please spread the word. Tell your girlfriends, tell your sisters, tell your best buddies that it's happening. We would love to welcome them into the community. Our community grows every single week through word of mouth and recommendation of sisters just telling sisters that this is what we're up to and what they can count on us for. So we would love to have your friends, colleagues, and co-workers as part of the community too. Awesome. It is called, Nicola, the Sunday thing is called Love and Intimacy. It's a 3-hour online workshop. So I'll be delivering it right here from my office, and come on in. The link to Love and Intimacy is up a little higher in the comments section. It's up a little higher in the comments section, but it's basically oneofmany.co.uk/love-and-intimacy. So oneofmany.co.uk/love-and-intimacy. Get yourself registered. We'd love to see you there, and bring your girlfriends along. I'll see you on Sunday, ladies. It's been fabulous spending a Lunch and Learn Live with you as always, and I will see you next Tuesday for more juicy love stuff. We're going to have 3 weeks of love stuff at the moment because we got to get ourselves prepared for the silly season. I know it's a little early, but, as soon as Halloween goes, they're going to start bringing out all of the bloody Christmas decorations into the shops, and that's when families go haywire. So let's get you equipped and ready to be love over the silly season. Awesome. Lots of love, my darling. See you later. Bye.